Remember Curtis?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so Chase has been a key stakeholder and investor in this community for decades, right? And that's my nice warm transition to Lloyd's memory. Lloyd has been a key stakeholder. He's been in this community, he lives in this community, he's been born in this community, grew up, went to school, all of that. But I think more than that is because there are a lot of people who that describes, right? We check the boxes and that, but we don't know what they do for their community anyway. But Lloyd was all about strengthening this community. It was economic development, it was arts and culture, you name it, Lloyd touched it. And whenever Lloyd touched it, it got better, right? So when we remember Lloyd, I remember Lloyd, and as Nicole said, just his candidness. As I tell people all the time, there's no gray line when you're dealing with Lloyd. You're going to be at a for or against the issue that he's talking about, and he'll respect you if you don't agree with him. But he just don't want you to waffle, because he never waffled at anything. Lloyd was really committed to anything he's done, 24/7. And so I know he'll be very happy and delighted to see his turnout today. We continue to cherish and maintain his legacy. So thank you so much. Sorry about that, Rocky.
That's Rocky. That's me, it's Rocky. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening. And I transition you into the evening. My name is Rocky Chaudhry. I have the honor and pleasure of being a local community manager here in Harlem, but I also have the honor and pleasure of moderating our amazing conversation this year. This is going to be my second year moderating this conversation. This is our third year hosting the Banking and Finance Conference here in our location, which has been our honor and pleasure to be able to do so. Please give us a round of applause for doing this. What we missed on saying was we've been the legacy sponsor of Harlem Week for about 37 years now. So 37 out of the 51 years that we've hosted, we've been a proud legacy sponsor. So it is truly an honor to be here and now being able to moderate. As we go through just talking about just like our memories with Lloyd, I'm somebody that is very normally, I know I'm sitting here with a mic and moderating a conversation, but I'm normally someone that's very reserved, very quiet. And so he always gave me that confidence. Every time we had Harlem Week, he would pull me up and would give me my flowers, and that really, truly, really resonated with me. Like I'm talking, it really, really did help build me up. So with that being said, I think that's the key memory with Lloyd is that he really did focus on everybody within our community, and really exactly how Nicole told us out was he really does lift as we climb. And so I really hope that we resonate with that today. I want this room to be fuller every single year. So this is a program that we offer regularly. This is our annual conference that we host with Harlem Week. So please, what we learned today, share with our community. Make them aware that these are resources that are available through the chamber, through us, and the amazing resources that you'll learn today. But without further ado, let's get this party started, all right? So we have amazing panelists. I'm going to call up first Mr. David Correa from the New York City Department of Small Business Services. Thank you so much. My amazing partner in crime, Mr. Franco Rio Frio, our Senior Business Consultant. And my amazing partner here, who I see all the time, and he's been very vocal throughout this presentation. He will be throughout the presentation too. My amazing partner, Mr. Curtis Archer. Come on over. You know that one? And then I did this intentionally, so that way the two Rockies are on both ends of the But our amazing president of the Hip Hop Museum, Mr. Rocky Bucano.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I'm going to give this to you. The mic's just got to turn on my plug it on. All right, perfect. I'm going to use this fun one right here. All right. Huh? And we're going to do TED Talks out now. All right, sorry. So we had a fun pre-panel conversation earlier this week, and I always like to start with a rapid fire question. I didn't tell them what the rapid fire question was going to be, so that way it would be a little bit more fun. So my rapid fire question before we get started, want to hear just a quick minute intro from each of you, and then the rapid fire question to follow. So that is, what are you either binge reading or binge watching?
Wow. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is David Correas, Executive Director of Outreach and MWB Recruitment with the New York City Department of Small Business Services. I'm Bronx born and raised, right? So all day, every day, big Bronx energy. And, I love coming to Harlem. It's such a fantastic energy, even walking through 125th Street. I've been with small businesses or worked small businesses for nearly 20 years, all the way from being a former banker myself, working in the small business and helping them grow and expand, and now really leveraging tax dollars to help, support and amplify everything that we do at SBS. In terms of what I've binge watched recently, I just finished Heavenly Ever After. It's a Korean drama. My girlfriend was like, "Hey, you should watch it." I was like, "Okay, we'll watch the first couple of episodes," and then I just took off with it. Fantastic one. I definitely shed a tear too, but it was definitely a good one. Definitely recommend.
That's the common theme. You start watching it with your girlfriend, that you're watching it without her by the end of the series. But thank you so much for sharing, Franco.
Thank you, Rocky. Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Franco Riofrio. I am a senior business consultant within our JP Morgan group. I have 17 years worth of financial services experience. I did start when I was 13. I don't know how that happened. I guess I did something good in grammar school. Queens native. You know from Queens? No, am I the only one? Yes, Queens native, of course. But to your point as well, I definitely love coming to Harlem. There's never a dull moment coming to this wonderful place. Now in my new line of business as a senior business consultant, I get to rub elbows with some amazing founders. First of all, business owners, if you're proud, raise hands. Where are my business owners? All right?
Nice.
So there's never ever a boring conversation with a business owner. If you guys ever want to have a good time, speak to a business owner and ask them, how did you come up with your business? Trust me, they will light up your day. Just amazing. So I get to work with a lot of these amazing founders. And what I'm watching now, I actually I'm not so much into dramas and things like that, but I do appreciate some good productions. Two most recently that I finished watching was Billions. I'm sure you guys watch Billions. A lot of it is fiction in itself, but I like the underlying conversations that happens in the high-end echelons of the financial world, and also Suits. I'm sure you guys ever watched Suits, right? I do think that's and anything law. I'm a sucker for anything. Anytime you see a lawyer, any of the attorneys in your room, love talking to attorneys. The lawyers for me are just fascinating. Suits and Billions, I think, are sort of two cool shows.
Thank you for that, Rocky. Thank you for even inviting me. Why? Well, my name is Curtis Archer, President of Harlem Community Development Corporation. I might be honest familiar with that. Oh, thank you. So just for context, so we own, of course, the Apollo Pit. Good seeing you, Reverend. Right. We own, of course, the Apollo, but also what? Can you say the Victoria? And of course, my wife loves what? The National Urban League site. Why? Because now she has a Trader Joe's. Okay. And literally, would you believe I was hired back in 2006 under the Pataki administration? So that's 5 governors, man. Yes, exactly. And what happened during that time? Can you say both my boys graduated, so no more tuition? And for Father's Day, they took me out and they around. Well, that's a long tunnel. But you can see it. You can see the goal line. And so I really enjoy what I do. Like I said, I think I know all that there is to know about Harlem and development. And like, let's say like you, David, BX baby all day. Not Wakanda, but BX. Okay, that's what we're talking about. But I've been a Harlemite since 1980. And I tell you, I can tell you, so the scuzziest commercial corridor in all of northern Manhattan was Frederick Douglass Boulevard, 8th Avenue, right? That's where the city owned more than 60 to 65% of the land and or buildings. But it started under Koch, continued under Dinkins, but really, really accelerated under Giuliani. And you know what that was? Taking the city-owned property and getting it in the hands of private developers. And so that's why now that is referred to as what? Restaurant Row, right? So it's really, now, I sometimes do get into fights with people when they call this the second Renaissance. Now remember, the Renaissance was driven by arts and culture, okay? This is driven by economics, plain and simple. Nicole, am I right? All right, there you go. But having said that, I appreciate being here in this room with you, because you will keep me on task, and that's the important thing. So thank you for having me. Oh, ooh, that's can you say the bear? Chicago, give it up, but yeah, the bear. Okay, yes.
Good evening. This microphone doesn't seem Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Rocky Buchanan. I'm the CEO of the Hip Hop Museum.
Yes,
So I was born in Harlem, but raised in the Bronx, and married to a beautiful woman who is from Harlem. Yep. So my passion is music, sports. Obviously, you can tell by my height. I started as a teenage DJ in the early '70s. I was just looking at the display case over there with the Sugar Hill Gang jacket. And inside that case, there's a flyer with my mentor. His name is Pete DJ Jones. And Pete was one of the top black mobile disc jockeys from the late '60s all the way through the mid '80s. And he allowed me to be his fly on the wall at 15 years old. I wasn't even supposed to be in the nightclubs, but I would show up to the clubs very, very, very early, 6 o'clock before the doors even opened up to the public, and help him carry in his records and speakers. And then he would tell me just to sit behind him and don't move. So I got to learn from the best, and he was my inspiration. And then I became a club DJ myself, a club promoter, concert promoter, working with M. Morton Hall, one of the rest of the soul. He was one of the top black concert promoters here in New York City. And had my own record company called Strong City Records during the golden era of hip hop. Worked in television. I was a technical director for the New York Mets from 1982 to 1987. They won the World Series in '86.
That's right. The golden years.
Last time. So just imagine me sitting in the control room watching the Mets, but I'm a diehard Yankee fan. So.
See, that's really not my question.
It was very painful for me, but it was a job, and I had to do it. And I also, for many years, ran the New York Gauchos basketball program, which is a staple here in New York City. The Gauchos started in 1967, and since then we've put more than 1,000 kids into top colleges and universities. Many of whom made it to the NBA, and some playing overseas. So I think we did very well with those kids. And it was from the Gauchos that the idea to start a hip hop museum actually began. I got approached by a couple of real estate developers who wanted the Gauchos to expand to the Kingsbridge Armory, which is also in the Bronx. And long story short, that project didn't work because Mayor Bloomberg at that time wanted to turn the Kingsbridge Armory into ice skating. And we lost, but the passion and the enthusiasm for a hip hop museum was so large from the community that I told myself this is something that I need to take on. I took on that responsibility 16 and a half years ago. So I've been working on this project for 16 and a half years. We have our building now, which is at the Bronx Point, which is right over the 145th Street Bridge. It's 55,000 square feet. It opens next October, and it's going to be one of the best museums in all of New York City, in the entire world, to be quite honest. So I'm really excited about that. So,
Third Avenue?
No, it's right on the exterior, so 145th Street. The major league is right there, right on the water, right on the Harlem River. So, what am I watching? I'm into crime dramas. So my wife and I have been watching The Fall, which is a British produced crime drama, and it's very exciting. I like it. So that's my story. Thank you.
I was gonna share a book. I was gonna share a book. So one of my favorite books that I try to read at least once a year is, and I started reading it in high school, it's actually part of the summer reading, Down These Mean Streets by Gary Thomas. Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite books, and I read that at least once a year. So I just went through that. So I added a book to the list. So in addition to shows and books, we gave you something to take away, but more importantly, you're gonna get some amazing resources after our conversation too. So let's get into it. So this question is open to everybody. So Harlem's identity blends culture and commerce. That's what we're here to talk to today. How has Harlem shaped your business journey? Who wants to tackle that one first?
Well, I mean, I'll take that. So, being a lifelong resident of New York City, I've seen the ups and downs of this community. I've seen the best of times and the worst of times. I've seen, coming up as a teenager, I grew up in the late 50s, so I'll be 66 this year. So, I remember coming to Harlem as a kid from the Bronx. There was a clothing store called A.J. Lester's, which was right up the street past the Apollo. And I used to go to A.J. Lester's to get the finest wares you could find. And I used to think I was the fly kid in the Bronx because that's where we used to go. We used to either go to Jew Man on Freeman Street up in the Bronx, A.J. Lester's right over here, or British Walker's, which was on the corner over there, or we'd go all the way down to Delancey Street and buy our clothing. So Harlem always had the flyest dressed people. And from that, it kind of developed, a style that the kids all around New York City really adapted to. And that style became such an important part of the emergence of hip hop culture in the early days, because we would look at what everyone else was wearing, and the OGs from my neighborhood who moved from Harlem up to the Northeast Bronx brought that style with them. And we would emulate and try to be like them with the knit sweaters and the gabardine pants back then, and the marshmallow shoes and the Playboys. So for me, it was really a part of my upbringing, to be part of, that lifestyle, and watching it transform from not just a look and feel, but from a cultural arts perspective as well. Because the Black arts movement really started to, from the last poets, and their contribution to the culture, and looking at Nikki Giovanni and some of the great writers that came out. But this was really, the Apollo Theater was the staple. If you wanted to go see a great performance, James Brown or the Jackson 5, where'd you go? You went to the Apollo, right? So from that, it informed my musical background along with Pete DJ Jones. But I remember going to some of the nightclubs here, Small's Paradise, and the Renaissance Ballroom. Some of these, now it's a Renaissance housing. And then as a kid, playing basketball in the park, I played in some of the tournaments. I played in Bunker Park. I played in a tournament called Whitney M. Young, which was on 142nd and Lenox, in that little park right there. So Bronx, Harlem, we have that symbiotic relationship that really you can't take away, because, where I live at in the northeast section of the Bronx, when my family moved from Spanish Harlem, they used to live in a tenement to the northeast Bronx. They moved into a 2-family home that used to be farmland. Mm-hmm. But all the people from Harlem or from other parts of New York City that moved to the northeast Bronx, including my guy Jason Patton over there, we took whatever we learned from this community and brought it with us uptown. And that's how it has shaped my passion for a lot of the work that I do now.
Who would like to go? Okay, as I told you, from the Bronx originally, the more senior section, but then my folks moved to the great middle class experiment, Co-op City. Yeah, Co-op City. Okay, and you talk about man, okay. Or remember the old amusement park, Freedom Land. right? So that was me. I ended up going to high school at Stuyvesant at the old building when they were on 15th Street. And I just remember, so when I first moved to Harlem in 1980, I really had no real idea. I wasn't rooted in that because, it was all about the DX, remember the birthplace of hip hop, the whole thing, right? But then I slowly but surely, I took a job working for David, you'll appreciate this, DBS, Department of Business Services, and this was under the Dinkins administration. And I will, former Mayor David Dinkins, this was the first time folks of color were hired in significant roles in city administration. So I got to give major props for that. Yes. Because literally, I remember the particular job working for the Department of Business Services as a project manager in the community revitalization part. And it was just like, went off. I said, you know what, this is what I want to do. And I started to learn more and more about Harlem, and also realizing that development, not all development is good. It has to be measured, it has to be tapered. You also need, what about community input? What do you want? Instead of something being forced on you, let's hear what you have to say about this particular project that is being proposed, okay? So I do remember that significantly as a life-changing thing. And so all of my jobs since 1989 have been in the area of community development. And I have no regrets. Love it.
So for me, it's been a life-changing experience to be part of this community. So as I mentioned, I've been in financial services for the better part of 17 years. Most of my career has been as a relationship manager, as a banker, right? Traditionally helping business owners with your traditional transactions, your deposit accounts, credit, treasury services, and so forth. But what's been incredible about the past 2 years since I've been in this role as a senior business consultant and working in a community like Harlem is two things. It's how resilient this community is and how close-knitted it is. And I'll give you the background for this, right? It stems from the COVID days. When I was a banker up until 2021, 2022, I remember PPP loans. Everybody remembers PPP loans, the frantic need of funding, right, to get your business up and running and moving. What did they tell you? It was going to be 6 weeks. That's what they were giving you in terms of barrel, 6 weeks, right? And it was a lot longer than that, right? Mm-hmm. So I remember how business owners at the time were struggling and really suffering to try to keep their business and their families sustained, right? So moving forward in 2023, when I started this fabulous role, and my manager told me, listen, you're going to be focusing in areas and communities such as Harlem, where you're going to be working directly with business owners. You're going to take your glasses off as a banker and don't look at the dollars and cents, right? That we oftentimes have the perception from the client's perspective. And I want you to take a minute to understand what this business community is about. And the one thing I've realized, you guys, in my portfolio of clients as consultants that are working with me, clients that are consulting with me, I would have to say that 90% of my new additions of my portfolio have been businesses that have been created since 2021, 2020, 2022. What's that's showing me is the resiliency of how businesses in the area are just saying, you know what, I don't care what's going on. Everyone is getting impacted in a different way, of course, but we're going to keep on moving forward. Right? We were just talking a little bit about this, and it shows you what happens when you are put in a rock and a hard place, and you're able to say, you know what, there's only one way moving forward, and that's hope. So work with this community and working with entrepreneurs in the area has been life-changing. Because I've learned tremendously in terms of how avid and agile they have to be to continue to grow their business, even after COVID. And how close-knitted the communities are. So Rocky and I do a lot of outreach, right, for community leaders. And as you can see, this room is full with community leaders because we can never do this work without the assistance of our partners. So when we reach out, we open up this space to be able to bring community board meetings, to bring, you have a bid, you have some sort of a local chapter of a group that wants to come in and talk about what's happening in your respective blocks, in your respective areas. And I've seen the turnout of how people, how committed they are in terms of elevating the standards of their livelihood. So this area, don't kid yourself, is one of the most close-knitted communities, not just in New York City, I would just have to say in the whole US. right? So those two things have been incredibly important. How close-knit they are and how resilient this community is.
It's interesting to hear a lot about the pandemic, because we were having a conversation earlier on, and I'm here tonight with our senior community liaison, Chuck Brunville, who is helping us drive up our Division of Business Services portfolio. And it's so fascinating. You know, one of the things I love about small businesses is the ultimate bet on yourself, right? You are saying that the service or product or initiative that you're doing, it's better than what the market is showing. And I love that confidence, right? And, you know, what you're going to hear tonight is so many advocates of how we can help channel that energy that you have to continue to operate and continue to grow and put yourself in the best position that's showing up. In a post-pandemic world, the agency shifted its operations in terms of centralizing its outreach team to go to these to the most underserved neighborhoods historically in all the 5 boroughs. And our agency's outreach team has been super active. And, you know, to echo what my partner was saying here earlier on, you know, it's so important in terms of what we do at SPS to help show resources to help business owners start, operate, and grow. But more so, how do we amplify that message, and how do we amplify that? And that's through our partnerships, right? Whether it's our business improvement district, whether it's through our emerging organizations, whether it's working with our chambers of commerce to help amplify what we do. We can only do so much, but working very closely with centers of influence to help expand what we do. Outreach and engagement is a proactive process, right? You can't just say, hey, we checked off the box to go to Harlem. No, it's a consistent process. Jock and I, in our walk over, we were talking about so many interventions that we did here, whether we were in West Harlem doing some door-to-door outreach to promote the resources that were out here, or we were out here not a couple of weeks ago with the Benefits on Your Block campaign, right here on Adam Clayton Powell, whether it's even celebrating and championing our newest business improvement district, you know, with East Harlem, being able to look throughout, you know, the entire economic corridor. The work never stops, right? You know, you're going to have always people who are looking to start their business, operate, and grow their business, and, you know, being able to make sure that when we do our job right, that means we're building up the pipeline for everything else that we do at SPS. And what does that mean? That means we're maximizing the use of tax dollars. We're showing the importance of the programs that we have, and most importantly, that we're going into the communities that need the services the most. So that's what keeps me excited. That's what keeps me going, and, you know, continue to drive that challenge.
Thank you so much. And shout out to the big finally starting in East Harlem.
Yeah.
Shout out to that, because I started this role in East Harlem. It's going to be 4 years now that I've been in this role, but I started in East Harlem, and that was something that's been in the process a long time before that. So,
Uptown Grand Central.
Yes, Uptown Grand Central. So we got to give them their shout out. Question to Rocky: how do you maintain your Harlem or Bronx authenticity when appealing to a broad audience? Because I know I see you nationally. You work with our national team. I see you in LA one day, see you in Chicago another day. So I'm just curious, how do you keep your authenticity, like specifically to the Bronx and Harlem?
Well, you know, the Hip Hop Museum we're curating the global story of hip hop, not just the local story, but the global story, because hip hop, which began in the Bronx and then spread to every other community in New York City, and then every other city across the country, and every city across the world, is now the most popular art form in the entire world. But in order for us to be a successful cultural institution, we have to know that we're serving the local community, right? So how do we empower the people who live in our communities? How do we empower the people that consume our art? How do we help the local artists expand their reach and their presence? So those are all the things that I work on consistently with my team, is how do we bring what we do as an institution to more people? And that's why we partner with JP Morgan Chase, because, you know, when Jason Patton and his team came up to us and wanted to form this unique partnership, we said, look, we want to use hip hop as a tool to really reach those that maybe traditional banking methods are not reaching. So we, went to the community branches in Los Angeles, Chicago, Atlanta, and now today here in New York, because we know that when hip hop gets involved in stuff and you bring the right presence to a local event, people are just interested in like what does hip hop have to do with finance and banking? And that curiosity opens up discussion. And that's what really needs to happen is by getting people interested in finance, using culture as a means to get them in the room, then they can learn some things that they may not know that they need to know, right? Like there's a missing link there. And that's what we found in our conversations in Los Angeles, Chicago, and Atlanta was people didn't know how to start a business. They didn't know the process of starting a business. They didn't know when they had a business how to file their tax returns and all these kinds of things. They didn't know how to get a loan from the local bank. And those conversations, we brought successful celebrities in the room to talk about their journey and their hardships. Not everyone started as a success, but through trial and error, they kind of like found the way. And they had to learn the hard way. So it was nice to bring people who really stepped in those potholes, made mistakes, to tell about, to speak about their journey to, people who want to be like them and kind of like say, well, this is how I made my first mistake so that you don't have to step in the same pothole as me. And I can tell you my own life journey, I've stepped in many potholes. So I'm very excited to be part of this amazing project. We've raised over $100 million in state, city, and federal grants. Microsoft is one of our corporate partners, as well as JP Morgan Chase. And we're still raising money, so don't get it twisted. We're still doing more money. But long story short, this is, we want to use hip hop as a weapon to empower community, to uplift community. Hip hop has always been the voice of the voiceless. It gives truth to power. It speaks truth to power. It is truth. It is power. And what we do as an institution, we need to make sure that people know that this is a tool that they can also use to expand their own creativity. Think about all the people that hip hop has spawned in terms of business owners, whether you're a music producer, record label owner, publicist, marketing person, an accountant, an attorney, a filmmaker, a fashion designer. I could go on and on and on. How many jobs that hip hop has created. Dapper Dan is one of the, the stars and the sons of Harlem. And it was his creativity that really showed how you can mix and match different fashion brands and create something new. And from that inspiration, now Gucci is chasing them all around the world to make sure that they stay connected to him. So long story short, it's about knowing your own passion. It's knowing how you can use your own creativity to reach new audiences, and basically even to, change your own belief in your own self. I know as a kid, my goal was to be a president. I didn't know what president was. I just knew that president was the top guy. And that was my inspiration. I wanted to be a president. My mother said, what do you want to be? I want to be a president. And I didn't say president of the country. I just wanted to be a president of something. And that was my mindset from I'm telling you, from a little kid. And everything that I did was with that mindset of I'm going to do it and I'm going to be the leader to do it. Whether it was DJing in the nightclub or producing a show or running a concert or managing a group or running the hip hop museum, that was always my mindset. I have to be the one leading it. And that's my journey. Thank you.
And I know you said you bring celebrities, but you guys are the celebrities today, genuinely, because that's what we're here for, is to really pour in those resources. And if you've attended one of my business workshops before, I always hit you with the tagline that if you're a business owner, you're solving the world's problems. That's essentially what you're doing, right? So I didn't see too many hands up as far as like business owners, but hopefully throughout this conversation, you do feel like you have this idea and you feel a little bit inspired to maybe kick that off, and you have an amazing team that'll help you guide you to be able to get there. So just thinking about that, if you have a solution for some world problem, you're a business owner. All right, so let's get into, today's topic is culture and capital, so let's get into the capital of it. Let's talk money. So this question is for David and Franco. I'll kick it off to you, David, to kick us off. What are the top 1 or 2 steps entrepreneurs must take to become funding ready?
Thank you so much, Rocky. The former banker in me says, always make sure that you have a good working relationship with your business banker, right? Because they are there to be a great resource. But, I definitely want to use this time to highlight what we do here at SBS. With SBS, we have a working relationship with over 40 different types of lenders that are out there, whether it's traditional lending institutions, micro lenders, and community development financial institutions. At SBS, we operate 7 different business solution centers, and we have a network of industrial business support providers. And each of those centers actually have finance account managers, right? And they're a great resource when it comes to helping you understand your working capital needs, helping you understand what to best navigate through. Franco mentioned earlier on about the PPP loans. I definitely want to shout out the business solution centers, right? Because they were churning and burning and helping people virtually to help complete those applications and get them the funding that they needed when it happened during the pandemic itself. But they do a lot of education and training virtually, in person. I know one of the other questions is, or I'll leave to the other question, but more so definitely leverage SBS as a resource, right? When it comes to the access to capital resources, but then also strengthen the operations of your business, right? Whether you're in the startup phase and you're thinking about what might be the best way for me to proceed. With SBS, we have this fantastic program called Fast Track, where you could go essentially through a boot camp style type of program to go from idea to concept. We have pro bono legal services that can help you understand what might be the best legal structure for you and for your business. We have a team that's dedicated in terms of helping you navigate through government. So if you want to understand, you're opening up a restaurant, what are the licenses and permits you need to have? A construction company, a personal care business, a supermarket, being able to have all those resources available, navigating through that. When it comes to even scaling up your business, we are the city's workforce arm too, and we can help you identify the appropriate talent available through our network, and then always look at government as a revenue stream. And this is where we talk about the city's minority and women-owned business enterprise program and the advocacy, like John McGrath and all the advocacy that he's done for the program and all of the stakeholders that we've had out there, and really helping champion the utilization and increasing of MWBE contracting to over $60 billion by fiscal year 2030. So we have a lot of those support mechanisms, and more than happy to talk about that later on as well.
Amazing. So I'm going to marry hip hop a little bit and business. One of the reasons I love hip hop is a phenomenal way of telling a story. Right not? Yes?
Yeah,
With lyrics and all of that keeps you engaged, it keeps you plugged in, right? In business ownership, I do think in my core, when you're planning a business, you have to be an incredibly good storyteller. If you are not preparing your story, in other words, thinking about a business plan, that mission statement, that vision statement, that purpose, okay? Whenever you're having conversations with funders, whether it is a traditional bank, a CDFI, or an SBS, or a potential investor, they want to understand the story. What is the impact that you are trying to cause or create with your business owner? So we have, some of my colleagues are bankers back in the room over here. So aside from the fact that they're there to help you build a relationship, when they sit across from you to talk about your business, they want to hear that story. Why? Because a huge component of what we do as bankers is we have to explain your business to someone at a particular, different state, a different location, and we have to do a great job of telling them why that particular transaction is going to help your business. So you as a business owner, you have to give us the ammunition to help you build that story. So be a great storyteller. Second thing I'm going to add is know your numbers. One of the most frustrating things, and know your numbers, and also understand what exactly is it that you're funding, and how much do you need to fund. So I'm sure when you were planning this project, right, at the Hip Hop Museum, you had a lot of war rooms, discussions around funding. What are we going to be using? How much do we need? I'm sure you're still going through that. And then you've raised $100 million, right? You're still having those conversations around additional funding and how do we go about this. Why? Because funding is one of those things that you always are going to need when it comes to your business. But understanding your numbers, understanding your P&L, understanding your balance sheet, what's the story behind those numbers, and trying to explain that to somebody else that is not vested like you are in your business is very, very important. And also, I'm going to definitely highlight the importance of building a banking relationship. Right? More than ever, banks are looking to be more than just your traditional bank. Don't think about a bank as a place you can park or cash a check or simply use an ATM for. We're here to build a relationship with you, right? And that's true pretty much for most banks, right? And they want to be sincerely be able to help you understand what is that you're trying to accomplish. So take the time to know the name of your banker, the person that is going to help you navigate to that. And if you don't know your banker, come around, let us introduce you to some great resources. As a senior business consultant, I'm going to plug myself in as well in terms of what I do. In our coaching program, we actually have a 4-month-long program where we have the ability to work with you on a one-on-one basis to tackle some of these questions, right? Your operations, your cash flow, your credit need, your supply diversity opportunities that you might have as additional sources of revenue. So, and this program is completely complimentary. It's fully funded by JP Morgan. I'm one of 9 in the New York tri-state area, and there's over 90 senior business consultants throughout the country. These are a team of professionals eager to help you scale and grow your business. But you have to be able to definitely be a great storyteller. You have to understand what is it that you want to fund, and you know your numbers, and you have to build a really good relationship with your bank.
And what Franco hesitated to say was, this is free for everybody regardless of where you bank.
Yes, absolutely. You don't have to be a
Regardless
Chase
of where you bank, you do not have to be a Chase client to be a part of this mentorship program. And you don't have to be a Chase client to come through and sit on our personal finance workshops that we host here at our location. Yeah, great. Yeah, those are free resources. We all want the community to succeed. This is why we're here. So next question. This one is David. I'm giving you all the questions, but I'll throw it to Curtis just to break them up. All right. So when financing options are most underutilized by Harlem, which financing options are most underutilized by Harlem businesses? Here specifically.
For me, I've seen CDFIs have not really been utilized, and how many guys are familiar with that?
No.
Okay, so
community development financial.
exactly. And there are a number of them. As a matter of fact, I mean, I can rattle off. Thank you. I actually serve on the board of HCC, Harlem Commonwealth Council, and we have the Harlem Entrepreneurial Fund. Okay, underutilized. We have even Action. Okay, we have Bach, the Business Outreach Network. You know, there are a number of them. So, like I tell people and whatnot, this is a way so that you go into your financial institution and they said no. I encourage you to look into the CDFI, okay? That you may hear that yes. And they may not necessarily give you all that you're looking for, but you can start out with a chunk, pay that back, and then grow. Thank you. Build that credit. Exactly. So CDFIs is one of the tools I don't think is utilized enough.
And to add on to that, you know, you mentioned Action. Action is actually an MWBE Leadership Association member that helps provide support, especially when you're performing on city contract and city funding opportunities. BACnet is one of the CDFIs that administers the Contract Financing Loan Fund, and both of them are CDFIs and network, you know, part of the network of SBS resources. I would say, you know, definitely, you know, stay, you know, with anything, it's an active process, right? Relationship management, whether it's with your local banker, local business solution centers, really being able to take a look at the resources that are out there. You know, for example, one of the most recent tools that was implemented by SBS is our Future Fund. Mayor Adams last year in our first ever Small Business Month Expo committed $10 million for this new funding vehicle, and it's based on revenue-based payments. So it manages the ebbs and flows of working capital. So definitely take advantage of those different resources. And then, you know, to echo what Franco was saying in terms of knowing your numbers, you know, some of the other support initiatives that we have within SBS, we have this fantastic program. It's a day-wide program called QuickBooks for Contractors Clinics, essentially walking you through the entire process of setting up your chart of accounts to generate some basic financial reporting. That is so critical, especially when you're talking about your loan applications, when it comes to bonding applications and navigating those different things. And then in general, look at government and look at the centers of influence there to help you out. Sometimes as business owners, we get so focused on our business, our baby, right? And sometimes we need to take a step back and see who else is out there to help support that. That's with our chambers of commerce, that's with our business solution centers, that's with our business improvement districts. There are so many resources that are out there, and stay inquisitive and take advantage of the resources.
You hit that right on the nail. I know as a business owner, it can feel very, very lonely. So that's really what we're here to do, is to break that up, is to make sure that you feel that you're not in this alone. And I think you can hear that from a lot of us consistently, is that it definitely does feel alone, but there are amazing resources and networks that can definitely help you navigate through a lot of that.
So a very important site that you guys take out your phone, write this down. This is practical advice. CDFI.org. CDFI.org. So that we don't name names of one or two CDFIs, because as we mentioned, there's different types of CDFI, localized, regionalized to where you are located, where your business is, depending on your nature of your business.
I have a list here.
I knew that folder was gonna pop up eventually.
Yeah, but CDFI.org, you can actually search by your location and find a whole Rolodex of clients and contacts that you can actually reach out to. But before you jump into that, reach out to SBS. They will connect you with the partners that you need to do. But if you want to do a little bit more homework, CDFI.org, great resource.
And David, you're right down the street, right?
Yes, one of our business solution centers is down the block, and then we also have some promotional material in the back. And then now that we're capturing notes, I want to give you another note as well. 888-SBS4-NYC and nyc.gov/business.
Was that the number 4 or FO? Was it number 4? Okay, just making sure, because we're writing down.
888-SBS4-NYC and then also nyc.gov/business.
David, just give him your number. Put him on speed dial.
And Rocky, I want to say, because David, you hit it well. So 361 West 125th Street. What is that? That is the Business Solution Center right there through HCC, which is Harlem Commonwealth Council. Oh my God, they also have one in Washington Heights. Who knew? Okay, so Business Solution Center for Central Harlem is 361, and then they have one in Washington Heights. I don't remember the address, but it's there.
It's on 181st, and then you have one in Fordham Road in the Bronx, Sutton Boulevard in Queens, Staten Island. We have them everywhere, right? But definitely take advantage of it. We have a dedicated hotline. We can connect you to the resources. Never feel like you're alone when it comes to operating and growing your business.
All right, my question, this is for Ronnie. What is one financial strategic lesson from building the museum that other entrepreneurs should know?
$100 million budget. Let's hear that.
Never think that you raised enough money. As a nonprofit, with changing political climates, changing corporate strategies, you always have to kind of like rethink who you're partnering with and what their long-term objective is. You want to make sure that you align your business with the right partners. Because at the end of the day, when you need them, they may not be there for you. But you have to make sure that you are connected to every resource available. You can't rely on just one resource. That old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That is one of the things that I can tell you that I've learned throughout my years. Make sure you diversify your partnerships, make sure you diversify your vendors, make sure you diversify your strategy so that you're not just serving one audience, you're really trying to expand and reach multiple audiences, because you live and die on your next, swing of political nuances in this world. And I learned that, with the Hip Hop Museum, funding is fungible, right? Today you're the best thing on the block, but tomorrow you may not be that best thing, right? So you always have to be prepared for those rainy days. And thankfully, we are in that position now where, we are meeting new folks, we're talking to new folks, they're all excited about this project, they want to be a part of it. So I'm thankful for that. But I also know in the back of my mind, we got to build up our own resources so that when that rainy day does come, this museum still stands. I want this museum to be around for the next generation, 100 years, 200 years from now. I don't want this museum to be open next year and then 3 years from now it's not open. So that's what I would pass on to you guys.
Good chair. Yes. All right, Curtis, this one's for you. How can Harlem businesses leverage innovation, partnership, and infrastructure investment to scale in the next 5 years? You're the complex one.
Wow. Okay. So I think, well, funny enough, so there is, how many familiar with the Tabor Institute over at Columbia University? Okay, that's through the business school. And so one of the things that we talk about is having really, because some people have said that we are oversaturated with resources. I don't think so. And frankly, do you know where to go, where to look? So having a directory of resources that are available to the small business community, that literally that you can one swipe or whatever, you can find out what's available. Okay, so this particular industry, what do they do? This organization that I just looked up. Okay, how many knew about the Harlem Entrepreneurial Fund? No one. Okay, so it needs to be out there and broader to actually reach. So that's one of the things that we need. So using innovation, because certainly we know that AI is here to stay. Okay, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. So that we're going to make sure that we do that. But also seeing that what you as a small business person, what do you want? Okay, don't have stuff foisted upon you. We want to actually then have charrettes where we bring the small business community together and get input from them in terms of where are the gaps, what needs to be plugged in there. You know, so having some community charrettes, because how many of you guys know that there will be two, not one, but two RFPs, and you familiar with an RFP, correct? Okay, request for proposal. If you're a developer, you love those things, right? There will be two for a property, one that we know very well. How many can say Mart 125? Bam. Okay, there you go. That's one. But then and now I've shifted my attention to 126th Street and 2nd Avenue. And in 2009, what happened there? Oh my God, we found some bones of formerly enslaved Africans. Who knew? So can you say the Harlem African Burial Ground site? I didn't even see Lucille. How you doing? Oh my God. At the Upper Manhattan Power Zone, my colleague there, yes, oh my God. So these are the particular things that people need to get ready for, because those particular projects will be, I believe, transformative to this particular corridor. But beyond that, there are other things that I think we as the small business community need to really glam onto. Is also hold elected officials accountable. Okay, that's very, very important. You do know that we had, okay, I'll give you an example. Project 145, 145th Street and Lennox Avenue, okay? We had a council member, right? Council member said no, was that she wanted 100% affordable housing. Now, you know and I know, Rocky, that affordable housing is a result of land acquisition and then the cost, right? So if the city owns it, give it to you for $1. But if you have to go to the private market, the only way you can do affordable housing is what? Through a subsidy. That's the only way. You tell me how you can do it differently. So that particular person said no, they wanted 100% affordable. And so now we have, as you know, a new council member. And I will credit the council member for reigniting the discussion about that property. So I don't know what's going to happen ultimately, but that's what you got to hold them accountable, so you can see that, let's say, things that you as a community person want, you can see at least be happen or be transformed. So I think that I've covered some of the ground. Yeah, thank you.
And Rocky, this is for you. How does Harlem's cultural legacy, through initiatives like the Hip Hop Museum, drive economic growth?
This community is such an important part of the fabric of culture in New York City that it will always be tied to the entertainment, artistic, creative landscape of New York City. There is no doubt about it. You got some of the most talented people here in this community. Some of those kids don't even understand their own talent. It's up to us to really identify them early and nurture their talent, give them the mentorship that they need. There's a program that we launched last summer. It's called My Camera's My Weapon. And it's a summer program that we partnered with some local schools. This year was DeWitt Clinton in the Bronx. And we mentor at-risk youth, get them off the street for the summer, 8 weeks. So instead of them walking around, messing around with, tools, other kind of tools, we put them in a classroom and give them a new tool, a camera. And we mentor them in photojournalism and filmmaking. And we pair them up with celebrity photographers and filmmakers. And when they get this tool with the right mentorship, it's amazing. It's amazing what comes out of that. And that's all the youth really need is just mentorship. If they are allowed to walk around at their own willy-nilly lifestyle, they're going to get into all sorts of things that they shouldn't be involved in. But it's about, giving them the opportunity. And there's not enough opportunities for these young kids today. There's no funding for youth programs no more. There's no artistic programs in schools. They're trying to put some of that back into the schools. But, long story short, these kids today need help. And unless we are able to give them the resources that they need, they're going to be doing the things that they're going to be doing. And you're not going to like what they do. So long story short is, work with community partners and local organizations to come up with ideas that inspire today's generation. And if you give them the inspiration that's needed, you're going to see incredible work. Tomorrow we're hosting a reception for this current cohort of students that we mentioned during the summer. And I was in my space, which is at the Bronx Charlie Marcus, called the Culture Lab. I was telling Jason, they put up their photos, and I saw some of the films that they worked on, and it is gorgeous. And this is just over 8 weeks, giving kids the right tools and just giving them the direction and letting them then, go in their own path. And that's what we hope to do more of, but with different tools. We did a project called the Hip Hop Science Project, where we teamed top Black physicists with hip hop artists. So a physicist with Grandmaster Flash, and bring them to the classroom so that you can show the connection between hip hop and physics. And at first, people was like, "How does hip hop tie into physics?" And then when we told them about the use of the turntable and manipulating the turntable to create new sounds and the frequency and all this stuff, they got it. So it's just a new way of teaching today's generation, and that's kind of like what we're trying to do as a cultural institution: bring those new learning, those new experiences. So getting back to the question, how does hip hop and how does Harlem work to make sure that the legacy of this particular community impacts what we're doing? It's always going to be part of what we're doing with the Hip Hop Museum. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, remember, okay, because I've been talking all day. We were at a tourism thing, Harlem Tourism Board, and the number 3 destination for all international tourism is what? Thank you, exactly. Okay, can you tell me the capital of, let's say, Ghana? Okay, thank you, very good, very good. What about the Cote d'Ivoire, which is Ivory Coast? This is a different crowd than.
It's not what I expected.
Exactly. So then it should be very, very, very simple. If I said the capital of Black America is what?
Harlem.
Thank you. Okay, that's all I want to say. So that's why the hip hop museum, because we talk about every genre. Because one of the assets that that we own, of course, what Minton's Playhouse, right? The birthplace of bebop, straight ahead jazz. Okay. So having said that, any genre of music that you talk about. We did.
Yeah, yeah,
You'll find the fingerprints there. So
100%.
thank you. So Harlem is in the house.
Yeah. I love that. This has been a great conversation. We're not over, because I need us to drop resources and gems for this amazing crowd. So take out those phones again. Take out those phones and write down some gems, but we're gonna get some gems for resource and where they can find you.
Beautiful. So we have some booklets in the back, but definitely nyc.gov/business. That's my reference point. That's my North Star for anything and everything small business, whether you're looking to start, operate, and grow. Take advantage of us. Use us as a resource, right? Help us channel what you want to do to help you continue to do the great things that you love doing. I love, the piece on the workforce side too, because we do operate 18 workforce centers, and we do operate a lot of support services to help launch people in their career path as well. So if you want to look at anything, everything SPS related, nyc.gov/SPS. We help connect New Yorkers to good jobs, build strong businesses, and create thriving neighborhoods across the 5 boroughs. I'll give you guys my email address, right? Because I'm on the run all the time.
We want the phones, we want the phones.
So it's dcoreas@sbs.nyc.gov. I could be walking around, running around, and all that stuff. I will always take a look at my emails. I will always follow up. Definitely, I know I gave it to a bunch of people right now, but definitely shoot me an email, connect you to all the resources that are out there. Connect with Jock as well. We'll be working the floor, working the room out there. If you're looking for support services to start, operate, and grow, use SBS as a resource. Thank you all so much. And what, my email address, my phone number, my social DCOREAS@sbs.nyc.gov.
And if you've registered, I'll also be able to provide some resources and include that in there as well. Frank?
Yeah, and amazing. Yeah, no, thanks for all this hard work, Rocky. You're probably gonna have a QR code after this, right, for anyone
I am
interested?
sharing my QR
So
code.
obviously, we are partners with Rocky and Internal with the Chase. So number one, if you guys want to get connected with one of our consultants, myself, and there's 9 of us throughout the New York tri-state area, you sign up through her QR code. She can connect you with one of us at any given time. Also online, chase.com/coaching for impact is our landing site. There you will find a whole assortment of resources, library, and content to how you can grow, scale, and continue moving on your business. But obviously, the best part of our line of business is the ability to work with someone like me on a one-on-one basis at a complimentary level. So I'm going to be around for the next hour or so discussing and chatting. Anyone that's interested in learning more about us, happy to connect with you guys. Also, there are some really good colleagues of mine. They're bankers. You guys need to have a particular questions and any problems with your relationships. You guys want to quickly get up so that we can see who you are, my bankers in the room? Yes, so definitely there's some bankers in the room. If you guys want to connect, we have a ton of resources available for you. Whether that's personal, business, we're happy.
Nice.
There it is.
Well, first of all, David, you know what? I'm a little upset. Really am, okay? Because I did not realize that you had really taken shock. Start small, think big, baby. Come on, yes, that's right. He was the man there when we were doing our webinars. So, Jacques, I had missed him, and I'm sorry, I didn't initially recognize you, man. You're a lot taller than I remember. That's because we were looking at you on the screen. So, okay. But anyway, good to see you, brother. That's right. And I would say that anybody who knows me knows that, John, I said, John, do I answer my phone? You do. Okay, thank you. So if you take down the number 212-961-4156, that is my number. I pick it up. All right, I take it seriously. In addition, if you're thinking about first-time homebuyer counseling, which we do in tandem with who? JP Morgan Chase. So you can you say Pedro Hernandez? Okay. Can you say 212-961-4140? Okay. If you talk about, let's say, the weatherization assistance program, if you happen to be a landlord, right, and you're looking to actually get a grant to improve a building's energy efficiency, maybe a new boiler, maybe a low-hanging fruit like energy efficient lighting, maybe even new windows. I want you to contact who? A short and proud Trini, Victoria Gordon, okay, at 212-961-4025, okay? And then I will leave you with this one. Oh, no, actually, I've got two more. First, that's going to be MWBE certification for those trying to do business with who? The state of New York, because I'm a state agency. So that would be Brian Cook, okay? Brian Cook can be found at, oh God, I can't remember his number. But call me. I have a number, okay? Don't send me a long email, just call me on the phone, call me, okay? And I guess I can leave you with that. Oh, no. My right-hand person, and this is Ema, which is Y-M-A. Don't call it Emma. It's Ema, Y-M-A, Oria. She's a deputy, and she can be found at area code 212-961-4193. So all the small business services, which, by the way, are free. And why? Because we are your tax dollars at work. That's why, okay? Anybody tries to charge you, they're ripping you off. Okay, so come see us. Just give us a call. I pick up the phone. You already know this. Once again, Curtis Archer. Thank you, guys.
You were giving me anxiety because if I lose my phone, I don't think I would ever be able to remember a quarter of the numbers you just listed out. Do you guys remember the time we actually knew people's phone? Let's give them a huge round of applause. I
gotta say, it's kind of like a Tourette syndrome. I can't even get rid of it. And then when I go home to my wife, I got nothing to say.
Oh my goodness. So I guess, listen, the bottom line is do not let fear stop you from pursuing your dreams. Right? Too many people get caught up in, should I do this? Can I take this leap of faith? Can I step out here and, go without a paycheck for a couple weeks? So that, and don't let failure be your obstacle, right? You have to fail in order to succeed, right? And failure sometimes is tough because some people fail and they just give up. But those people who fail and continue are the ones that normally break through that path to success. So those are the two things that I would tell you.
You said you wanted to add something?
Yeah, one of my favorite sayings, when Rocky was talking about not letting failure get to you. I remember I was working at the bank at that time. It was a Saturday too, and this lovely lady comes in, and the branch was on a college campus, and she goes, "Wow, in school you learn, then you take the test. In life, and I'm including, and in business, you take the test, then you learn." Right? So continue to run with that, and I want to thank our partners at Chase, and I want to thank the Greater Harlem Chamber for this beautiful collaboration and extending an invitation to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. What an amazing conversation. A round of applause again for our amazing celebrities. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. Like we mentioned, we had some amazing resources. If you registered, and I'll be able to send that via email to each and every one of you. So even though he memorized all those numbers, I'll make sure to send it to you too. But I'll also be sharing a QR code at the end of our presentation. You took step 1 by coming in today. Let's take step 2 by putting these things into action. So if you would like to continue learning more about the programming that we offer, I'd also like to meet our amazing bankers and our amazing branch team. I know we gave our bankers some flowers, and I know she's hiding in the office, but I gotta give her flowers for Harlem Week. My amazing partner is our branch manager here at our amazing community central location. So if you ever need to come in and just have a further discussion about anything that you need help with, she is here to present those solutions for you. And if you'd like to meet her team, I'm going to share that QR code at the end of our presentation. But thank you so much. So without further ado, I get to call up one of my amazing partners that I have the honor and pleasure of working with. One of my mentors also, Mr. Winston Majek from the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much. You guys are good?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. Representing the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce,
I serve as executive director of Winston Jet. I want to personally thank you all for the efforts that you've been doing, not only through this Harlem Week, but the other 50 years that you've put in to bring us to this day. I was just telling Mr. Jason Patton there, I was rushing over here, and then we got a call from U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer, who we had a meeting with last night. He said, see, that's what we want to happen in the community, Nicole. We want these types of sessions so economic development can happen. Because without it, every year that we have 1,600 in office, it's going to be another 600 million cut from the budget and another 600 million cut in order to help small businesses and entrepreneurs. So I apologize for being late, but that was a really important follow-up from last night's meeting that we had with other Harlem leaders in order to help entrepreneurs and small businesses and community-based organizations. So we thank you for all that you've done for Harlem Week. Today was kind of a busy day, as my board member Lucille McEwen said. She says, what time do I have to get up for Black Health Matters? Harlem Week? I said, well, it started at 8 o'clock. She says, okay, I'll meet you there. And I know that means she's gonna sleep to 8, while I get up at 5, and she'll meet me. Again, that's one of our attorneys, and she's one of the great economic development leaders that we have here in Harlem. But we had over 4,000 seniors and adults there today, which was really a record because we just moved from the Alhambra Ballroom last 2 years to Riverside Church this year. So to have to now consider moving again is a thank you to all of you and the work that you do. That we have 4,000 people there today with wonderful workshops. So next year, we're gonna look at a little larger place that we can go, but that's 4,000 people that we helped with thousands of testings and screenings today. So that's really important. And I thank you for not only taking care of our seniors, but I know you're gonna come out to see our children, because we have the 2-day Children's Festival on the 16th and the 17th. And they're gonna put their boots on the ground as they parade into the Howard Bennett Playground on Saturday. And they're gonna show that their voice counts as well. So one of the things we talked about with Senator Schumer was the opportunity to go out to the community and start getting people to vote. Whether it's voting for the principal of your school, voting for your community board, but starting young to learn about that process of voting, because it's gonna mean a lot more in the next 4 years that we do that together and we work to build our community. So on behalf of the Board of Directors for the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce and Harlem Week, we thank you for coming out. Please mix and mingle. You probably have $1 million besides you're in the bank. $1 million worth of resources that you're gonna get tonight. And please, I know Rocky is like the best host. She probably has. So she takes care of you. So make sure if you want to open an account, because we got a couple coming to you, a couple of new accounts coming to you tomorrow, and take advantage of this opportunity. But we'll see you, actually, Michael, you're right. We just added a new event tomorrow as a part of the Salute to the Fashion with H&M Stores. H&M Stores is doing a special Salute to Harlem history of fashion. So for us, it's 50 years of it, and it's tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and it's at the Harlem store. And we're gonna showcase, it's almost like being in the African Museum in DC, where you see us there. One of our designers, fashion designers, Lois Alexander, who had a dress made for the wife of then President John F. Kennedy, is in the museum. And she was one of the first founders of our fashion initiative. So you're gonna see and hear about that history that we've had for the last 50 years with Harlem Week. So it's gonna be really exciting. I can't wait, because there's stuff in the museum now at the Met, and the new exhibit that's being featured there. And then we just did the Tony Awards. We had 3 designers who won Tonys. We just also got featured on Broadway, Miss Felicia Rashad. Yes, Felicia. So, I mean, we've had a great history showcasing Harlem and the Harlems of the world and their designers in fashion. So tomorrow morning, H&M is doing a special tribute to some of our fashion designers and our models that have come through us. See one of my favorite photographers is here, Mr. Leonard McKenzie here, and he shot a lot of our shows. But that's just the beginning of this weekend. So I want you all to come out, enjoy yourselves. Always go to HarlemWeek.com to see what else we're gonna do, because we're always doing something. Again, my name is Winston Majed, and I thank all of you for coming out tonight.
Thank you so much. So please, again, network, we do have some refreshments, meet the amazing panelists, and just meet each other. Thank you so much.
Kitty.
Oh, okay.